What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show. I'm also a certified empowerment coach and also president of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. For those who don't know a little bit about Dr. Vibe, I've hosted over 1,000 conversations online, and one of the special things that I'm blessed to do is most Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern time, we do a conversation where the men get to share and talk and give for other men and those who love them. So tonight's conversation topic, hey, Brian, what is up? Love to have you on here. It's the end of the month, and I didn't do this on purpose, but many people get paid at the end of the month. And I thought about it. Does money make a man feel rich, or is there other things in a man's journey that make him feel rich, or what makes a man feel rich at this time? So last night, most nights on Monday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern time, I do a conversation for women. So last night it was the ladies' turn to say, I asked them, women, what makes you rich? Surprisingly enough, there were a number of men watching that conversation, and even some joined in on that conversation. So I'm jacked up tonight because we're doing the men's version tonight. Men, what makes you rich? So if you want to come into the blab, seats are open. If you want to comment on the side, seats are open. I like to thank Sandy Sanders. I like to thank Dante. I also like to thank buyblacks.com and Johnny and Jay and Brian for stopping by. I appreciate it. You know the mic is always open. And I'm very blessed to have Johnny Mack in our conversation tonight. I had the honor and pleasure of hearing him share last week on a blab that he was on with 3 other gentlemen, and it rocked the house, and they were kind enough to let me come on the blab. So payback time. So Johnny's on tonight. So Johnny, why don't you share a little bit about yourself, and let's start the conversation going. Give us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a writer. I'm a coach. I'm a publisher. Primarily, I help people to dominate their industry by doing something that's very simple, creating a best-selling book. I've discovered an algorithm with Amazon to be able to leverage it up and take your book from no book at all to having a best-selling book in a shorter time period as possible. And we've got several different processes involved in that. We've got a 1 day, a 1 week, a 1 month project where you can go from, in 1 day, you can have a book written, published, and at a best-selling status. So those are some of the things that my company SPAN is able to do. And we reach out. And I try not to just go with anybody that has a vanity process that's just trying to get a book to say they have a book. I try to find people that are speakers, that are presenters, that are authority figures, that are coaches and entrepreneurs, and help them to get a book and leverage them to their top level of success. So that's a bit about me. There's more, but that's all I want to share tonight.
Exactly, but you're also part of a group of men that have vision and have purpose. What
about
now,
them? The Men of Vision is a unique organization. There are 5 brothers that are from the east to the west, all over America. And our stated goal is this: we found that if you look at all of the Eventbrite subject matters, if you look across the board, there are conferences that are for women, about women, and most conferences out there, most personal development conferences, especially those that feature Americans of African descent, are primarily female. And that means that the men are being left out. So our focus in coming together and joining together was that we wanted to create a climate where men would be able to come and engage in not only personal development, but brand development, success development, doing those things that are necessary to leverage their entrepreneurial position to a point of success and excess. The excess will allow them to be able to share and to pour into life of another man. So that's what the Men of Vision are, and we're just expanding. We're so excited. We just got off of a national conference, and our keynote speaker was Dr. George Frazier, and he wrote Success Runs in Our Race, Click. He puts on the Power Networking Conference. So to be able to get someone of his magnitude to keynote our organizational and our first individual conference was major.
Well, a few things, and we'll discuss these off air. First of all, I certainly am interested in your services because I have about 7 books ready to put out.
Well, we need the hook. Yes.
Well, but you know what's very interesting, and we'll get to the conversation in just a second. For the longest period of time, I was looking for a gentleman who helped in the services that you did, and all I found were ladies that did that. So we'll talk down the line about that, because I have a number of publications. Even up to last night, someone sprung an idea on me to publish a book. But let's get to the main conversation tonight. What makes you rich?
What makes me personally rich? You know, richness is, in my opinion, is primarily a state of mind. When you start with the mindset, then the wallet set and the bank set, everything else gets in place. But if your mindset is bankrupt, if your mindset is poor, if you have a poverty mindset, one great transformational thought leader said, I think Benjamin Franklin, that if you pour your money you pour your wallet into your head, it will feed your wallet. But most people think that the resources are the source. And it says "re" for a reason. The resources that we have are tools that are used to build up and to expand and to generate legacy and to generate the possibility of doing more, the potential of creating and establishing a platform so that we can present.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. Your connection is not good. So what I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna ask you to refresh again if you can.
That's no problem.
Thank you. No problem. Sorry about that, folks. His internet connection isn't the greatest, so as much as possible, I want to make the viewing experience either live or on replay as best it can be. So I'm going to see if we can get him back in. And other people you're here, not George. I see Evangelios. Thank you so much. I know you stopped in for a little bit. Brian, Jay, certainly come on if you're. It might be loud because you were choppy too. Okay, thanks, Jay. Thank you for that update. No problem. We'll just roll with what we've got. And I see Tony's having some difficulty logging in, so it may be him also. Okay, I know Dante, who had to do a webinar at 9 o'clock, so I know he's gone. So no problem. Let's try again.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. I put my headset on. I think that might make it a little bit better. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. No problem.
Well, as I was saying, wealth is not necessarily just the wallet. Wealth is the mindset. And what you have allowed yourself to receive and to understand and to believe is what actually makes you rich. Richness is not just money. Riches is the mind that allows you to get money, to create money, to develop money. Because without the proper mindset, you may have a $10,000 lump sum and it's gone and you can't replace it. It's that whole golden goose concept where they tried to kill the goose thinking that they would get more, not realizing that it was just part of the process in the system, and they destroyed that system. The mind is the system that creates the wealth. So I think that riches is something that is determined by how you understand and receive and believe.
Okay. So let me ask the question here, and may bring Jay and may bring Brian into the conversation. Compare your thoughts about richness now to when you were younger. Are they no? And it's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah. How are they different? And if they are different, what made that thought process change when it came to being what's a rich in your
part
manhood?
of it is that the valuation and the estimation of what is wealth or what is being rich has changed over the time. I thought, at one point, 15, 20 years ago, well, probably 25 years ago, a young man said that he was going to make $75,000 in the industry that we were working in. And I sat back and I was incredulous. I said, $75,000, like that's a lot of money. And I realize now that it's a small sum based on the needs and the what I'm going to utilize it for. So part of what's happened is that my understanding of what wealth is has expanded, and my understanding of what I'm able to achieve, what I'm able to actually develop and have access to has expanded as well, which goes back to that mindset. I didn't believe early on that I had the ability to become wealthy, and it was only when I started reading positive material, reading books that increased my understanding, surrounding myself with people like yourself, people that understood wealth, people that could share with it. See, I used to be the sharpest tool in the shed. And that's when I realized that that was the problem. I had to get into a new shed.
Nice. So did your definition of richness changing involve you having to humble yourself a little bit?
Humility, of course, was a part of it, but more so than that, my definition expanded because I expanded my circle. I expanded the people that I surrounded myself with. I expanded the books and the materials that I read. I began to control what I allowed to come into those 6 inches. Not just newspapers all the time with bad news. I began to strategically select the type of thoughts that I would allow to come into my mind. So when I looked at some of the crap music, I looked at some of the television that was just a wasteland, that was not doing anything to improve and empower me. That's when my definition and my understanding and my concept of wealth grew.
Okay. When now outside of the circle
Yes,
of men of vision that you deal with, what do you, when you get an opportunity to talk about this sort of subject with men, what sort of definitions of richness do they have? And I'm talking about the men outside the men of vision.
I've got my church, of course, and they are, because my pastor is a progressive pastor, their understanding has been broadened as well. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and most of my brothers that I pledged with have a broader understanding of riches and wealth as well. But a lot of times, because I'm such a gregarious person, I meet people and I see the narrowness of their thought. I see the narrowness of their approach and of their understanding and of their concept of what is wealth and what money and riches are actually for, that it's a tool to be used, and it's not something that should control you and consume you, but that you should use it to consume and to develop your surroundings.
Okay. I will park you on that and get back to it, but something came into my mind. No, I'm going to definitely, God willing, I will come back to it. I want to ask, what examples of richness did your parents exemplify? And I want you to start with your mother first, then your father.
Wow. So that's not fair, but that's not transparency. Is the currency of change, and the currency that will actually allow you to expand yourself even further and be able to grow. Because when you hide truth and hide reality, it prevents you from being able to grow to the levels that you were destined or that you were created to be able to reach. My parents, I grew up in a little town in Ohio, right outside of Dayton, a little town called Xenia. And the interesting thing about that little town is that there are 2 African American colleges within 3 miles of that town. So I would
Okay, you know what?
I don't think Johnny wants to answer your question.
You're
I'm going to answer the question, but sometimes I'm a little didactic and I
let
go
me ask you something.
to another level.
You're breaking. No, you're breaking up again. Can you do another refresh for me?
Okay.
Yeah. Bless you. Brian, I don't think Johnny wants to answer. He's good. I've had a chance to converse with him via Blab before. He's very transparent, so no worry. My question is, do you want to answer any of my questions, Brian? That's my next question. That's my next conversation piece. All right, let's give it another go here.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
That's better again. Good. So yes, I was asking about what characteristics of richness did your parents show?
They instilled a fatalistic financial formula to me. During the 60s and the early 70s, in small towns in the North anyway, I don't know about the southern part of America, but they still played the numbers or that illegal lottery. And my parents played every day. They charted the numbers. They followed the numbers. They get hunches. They would even take lunch money sometimes. So money became was a scarce commodity. We would scrape through and pay the bills, but we would take a vacation every year, and that was pretty powerful for us. But to be in a position where I had to go to school and sometimes hit up my friends for lunch money because my parents spent the money on that lottery, on playing the numbers. It really had an impact on me. And they were gamblers. The gamblers. They liked to gamble. So what I looked at and gleaned from that and gained from that is that life is not a gamble. You have to. It's a sure thing if you follow a specific pattern. So for them, my mother and father having that type of giving me that type of picture of what money was, they would throw it away and they would just get excited when they would hit, but they would not normally hit. That put just a negative bent inside of me regarding money. And that's part of why it was necessary for me to begin to recreate and reinvent the thought pattern in my own mind regarding money, because I realized that was not a good way to steward what I had been blessed with.
Good stuff. I'd like to also welcome Rasheen. Welcome as always to the conversation. And just to make it open here, ladies, you can join in too, but the perspective I'd like you to bring in is what you think makes a man rich. So we've got Brian joining in now. Fantastic.
Pretty good.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
It helped if my microphone
low on
was
volume. There we go.
Pretty
That's
good. How you
better.
doing?
That's better. How you doing? Always blessed and highly favored, and always happy to have you joining the conversation. And thank you for jumping in. Thanks for finishing the email and getting on in here. I love that. I love that. Let me ask here. At this time of your manhood journey, what makes you rich?
What makes me rich, I would say, is quality time, like actual dedicated time with my family at different functions and events. Like tomorrow, my son is graduating from high school. He's heading off to Purdue University as a preferred walk-on lineman, and so yeah.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
Yeah.
Is my camera blurry?
Great.
A little bit.
It's a little, but your sound is good. That's
sure
the most important
blurry
thing.
On me. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to. The older I get, the more these kind of events have more and more meaning, because you realize how short life is, and people start passing away. And my mother passed away last summer, and so you start really becoming aware of these moments in life are one-time only events, and so they make such a big difference.
That's a great perspective, and I don't chime much into the conversation. I just like to have the people here, but I can relate to that, because I know that I'm going these days to high school reunions, and when you go to a high school reunion and you notice that people you went to school with, especially guys, are no longer around, you want to say to yourself, you know what, I want to enjoy as much as I can in regards to a rich life.
You're breaking up for me,
because it's not all about the money. Money funds the mission. It's not the mission. So I really appreciate that you're saying that in those special moments now, time that you're spending with your family is what's making you richer, really rich.
Yeah. And the other, other thing that where, time with family has become more salient in my life is that my wife is in the military, and she is going to be deployed for an extended period of time next month. Wow. So it's, it's even more, it becomes even more important, the time you spend with somebody, especially when they're, you got Memorial Day was kind of like Memorial Day means a lot more for us families that are in the military, that have active duty, military in our families. That it really, it's not just about cooking out. It's about, the sacrifices that, our military families, including ours, makes to give up our loved ones for extended period of times, and not sure, how that's going to turn out, when they if and when they come back.
Wow. Well, Brian, I want to tip my hat to your wife first and to your family, because that's not easy. And I really appreciate you as a man saying being open about that. I really appreciate that. And it's making me think that I will do a blab on that husbands that are separated from their wives, not by choice.
Yep.
Because not every couple.
I think,
Go ahead.
And I think it's unusual. It's non-traditional for like for theirs to be the military husbands. There's the military wives, which is more traditional, but there are those of us who have the wives who are the active duty members, and so we're kind of a minority in the military family, I think. But the same fears, struggles, and sometimes I think it's some ways it's harder because as men, at least in my family, I'm not used to dealing with all the family issues. A lot of women are good at dealing with all the family issues solo. I don't think a lot of men are good with dealing with all the family issues solo.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do.
At least I'm not.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make one of you a host. I'm gonna refresh because Blab is really funky tonight. Yes, so I'm gonna make Brian a host, and then I'm gonna refresh and see if I can help out the situation here. So just give me.
Well, Brian,
I feel the power.
Also say thank you. To feel the burn, baby. Listen, so I want to just take this time out to say I appreciate the fact that you've been able to stand in there and empower her to be able to serve and to make it possible for our freedom to continue forward. So, man, hey, that's a blessing to have a daughter that's deployed right now in the Navy, and I mean, that's, you talk about what able to spend time. You talk about getting more money, but the riches is just the time you're able to spend with them and the quality of that time, not even necessarily the quantity of it. How do you reconcile that? Now, do you have kids? You said one is graduating, but you have kids that are still.
Yeah, we got.
Wow.
4, yeah.
4. Ooh.
4.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
One's in college, one's graduating this year, and then I got one in high school, freshman in high school, one in grade school, 7th grade.
Wow.
Oh. Well, wow. You got a long time to be a house husband.
You've just made me think I've got to do a whole other blab just on what you're sharing, because military husbands.
Exactly.
I think that's a subject in itself. Military husbands, and you've got 4 kids. And your wife is being deployed? Boof. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't spoken with too many military husbands. I'd be curious to see how what others' experiences are.
Oh, definitely. I've written it down.
This is all new for. Mhm. This is all new for us because this is her first deployment. So it's she's been in medical school for a long time. She's an Army doctor, and so this is the first time she's being deployed. So this is going to be very interesting.
Do you mind sharing where she's being deployed to?
You're kind of breaking up. I didn't hear that.
Blab is crazy. We'll work through it. Where's she being deployed
Now
to?
you're frozen.
No, he said, Brian. He says, "Where's your wife being deployed to?"
I don't know if I can share that.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah. Because sometimes
I don't want. Then that is serious. Then, wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah, certain things,
Wow.
active duty people, you can't share a whole lot. You know, you got to be careful about what you share, especially in a recorded live public forum.
Understood. Wow. I'm just writing down here. Just excuse me for a moment. We're gonna do a conversation about military wives and military husbands. Thank you, Sandy, for framing that conversation piece. I almost feel like we don't like the Blab's taking a whole other meaning here tonight. But so you gentlemen have, what are you instilling? What qualities are you trying to and are trying to install? What characteristics? Just monetary children. What are you instilling in them?
Well, that's an extremely good question, Dr. Vibe. You know, what are we're tasked leaving our children and instilling a mindset into them that they will be able to know what's the best case scenario, what's the best move forward. I have 3 daughters. One is in the military, and the other 2 are successful in corporate America, and one just left corporate America and she has her own business. All 3 of them are successful and accomplished. And when I look at all of my brothers and sisters, and I look at my wife's brothers and sisters and their children, I look back and I see where mine have grown to, and they used to make light of the fact that my girls that we kept them on a close, short leash, that we didn't allow them to go to all of the parties and to do all the reckless and wild things that teenagers did. They said we needed to let them go free, or once they did get free, they would just become wild and crazy. Well, exactly the opposite happened, because we taught them life skills, because we taught them positive values. We gave them a solid Christian foundation, because we gave them all of that as a literal legacy, and because we shared with them and we gave them the most precious commodity was time. We invested our time into them. We invested our talents, shared with them, and we helped grow. And the end result is that now I can sit back and they've received those values, and they're doing well. So Brian, I'd like for you to just go in and just piggyback on that and follow through. Can you hear me?
It's really,
Brian.
Yeah, Johnny.
I think he's supposed
break
to.
it up for me
Dr.
too,
Vibe,
kind
can
of
you
in
hear
and
me?
out. I heard most of what you said, Johnny.
okay, yeah, because it seems that it's breaking up a lot. Okay, let me. Okay, I'll try a refresh first, and then
It's gone. I can't even. Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna also
I'll
refresh
refresh again.
myself. So let me go first.
Go ahead. Welcome to the Brian Lobig Dr. Vibe Show, brought to you live
Okay.
from
And
Bethesda,
let's try
Maryland.
this again. Okay, let's do that.
And let's do that.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Brian.
Oh, okay.
I think Brian's a little bit. Yeah. Refresh, definitely.
Shaky?
Ahmed
Should I
Azal, how
refresh?
you doing, Kiana? Welcome. Hope you are doing fine. Happy work week.
Happy work week.
Wonderful lady. And Ahmed, if you want to join in, or happy work week, you want to join in the conversation, there are seats open.
Looks like we're getting Brian back.
That it looks like it's better.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
your video's better.
Yeah, your video is definitely.
I turned off the autofocus and I focused it manually.
There you go. Okay, that's better. That's better. Yeah. So I gotta remember where we were at now.
You was asking what traits we passed on to our children,
Yes.
so that
Yes,
they
so
would be able to understand wealth better.
So they could, well, and again, it's not just wealth from a monetary standard, it's living a rich life, not just money wise. So, Brian, what sort of things are you sharing, educating, living to share with your younger kids or your youth, your future? What sort of things are you sharing with them in regards to richness?
Well, with regard to like my definition of richness is does not start off monetarily. You know, when I was younger, you had that question earlier. You know, you had a question earlier on. Like when I was younger, I defined rich more like based on financial wealth, and it's kind of funny because as I've gotten older and I focused less on less on monetary wealth, I've actually gotten more monetarily wealthy. So
interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
And so what I've
did that take you aback?
Yeah, it totally,
Did that
it
catch
totally
you a
took
little
me
bit
back because I thought I'd be I thought at this point in my life, because I got laid off in 2010 from a nice chief operating officer job for a statewide multi-million-dollar nonprofit. I got laid off, and I figured that was the most money I'm probably ever going to make is when I got laid off. And so I decided, well, let me just do what I love then. Instead of just doing this management stuff, I'm just going to, my wife's going to be a doctor. I don't necessarily have to work that hard. So let me just do what I love. I'm going to do web design. I'm going to do kind of internet marketing stuff, and I'm just going to have my own business. I'll follow my wife around wherever she goes. And so since that's happened, I took all the pressure off myself to try to, find another corporate job. And I just started doing what I really love in internet marketing, like SEO kind of stuff, and then training and working with other people. And since I've done that, I'm making triple now what I did when I was a chief operating officer. And it doesn't feel like I'm trying. It's like all this work just been coming to me. I joined a business networking group called BNI, and it's all these opportunities just kind of come to you. It's like the law of attraction. Like it seems like it's like effortless. Like I accidentally joined one of the most profitable BNI chapters in the state of Maryland because it just happened to be 3 miles from my house. I joined the one that's closest to me. And it just happened that the web designer who was in that group left, and I just happened to take that position, and everybody started giving me their business. It was just like everything is kind of falling into place. But to answer your question, get back to your question about the kids. What I teach my kids is
Nice.
to really value relationships and value hard work.
Yeah.
I don't give them allowance. They have to work for anything they do. They all work in my business one way or the other. Like all my kids, like one of my kids does my accounting, entering receipts. Another one helps me with web design. Another one, my daughter, who's like a senior in college right now, she's doing some basic web design. She's done graphic design. She's an artist. So I'm putting her art skills to work with. She's done logos for me, for my clients. And she's gotten a good taste of what hard work is like. She's working as a waitress at Brio for, $2 an hour and tips on the weekends. And then I hire her at my standard subcontractor wage of $20 an hour. And she realizes, how much and she can do that from home in between whatever she wants to do. She doesn't have to, go drive 10 miles into work to make $2 an hour. She realizes, the real benefit of, a work from home kind of situation. She really values the work relationship we have now that she knows how hard it is to make money in this world, working at a manual labor job.
So would you equate then, and both you and I'm going to ask is, richness and value sort of go hand in hand, whether it's value of making money, value of life? Do those go hand in hand in your opinion?
Value is what we bring to the marketplace. And when we bring that value to the marketplace gives us a reward. And so we work for that reward. So the key question is, based on the value that you bring to the marketplace, that's how much value and how valuable you become. And I just want to piggyback off of what he was saying right there, because we're in a whole different marketplace, and the skills and the talents and the gifts that we bring to the marketplace today are totally different than they were even.
Yeah, you're breaking up bad, Johnny. I'm going to click you out. Oh, wow. We are having some challenges tonight. Okay, I'm going to do a refresh.
Dr. Vibes refreshing. Blab totally, I have a live Blab show myself called the BNI Blast on Blab on Thursday nights. And there's some shows I've had to just cancel because it was so, I couldn't get any of my co-hosts on at all.
Challenge,
that's how we ran the show.
Mildly. Okay. But I appreciate the people who are here and they're staying with us. Oh my God, Blad is so good. Yes, Blad is very glitchy tonight. No worries. But that's why I do a lot of conversations. I don't have to put myself, this is my only show and it's going to make or break me. No, we work through it. So Brian, and I don't know if we'll get Tony back because it looks like his connection is not that great. Yours seems to be steady. With the men that you associate with or the men that you come in contact with, you do get a chance to chat with them, you get a sense of what they have, what they value as rich. And do you and for those who you feel don't have the right perspective on richness, do you in any way try to show them another direction? Let's put it that way.
Well, interesting question, because I'm a member of a men's group, a local men's group. It's a faith-based group here in my neighborhood, actually, and it's kind of unusual because there's like 60 men, and kind of mix from young men to seniors. Like people who are in their late 20s to retired men, and from a kind of fairly broad racial ethnic makeup, predominantly Caucasian, I guess. But I would say that group, it's focused, since it's a faith-based, group where we come together and we pray and we learn. We're learning about the Bible and our own faith. The sense of richness is really kind of consistent in that group. That it's really about the faith that we have in our God, in our family, and in our community. It's very it's very strong. The values there are very shared and strong within that group. And so that's one of the. So I think the richness in that group is very, very consistent and real. I think in some of my more business network groups where there's not a common set of faith principles, I think it's still. I still think even like James is an example. Like he's in my James, who's in the audience, he's in my business networking group locally here. James Bonato, and he and I share a lot of the same values. We're not from the same faith background, but that man is driven by a force that is consistent, that is as strong as anyone from a faith background that I've ever seen. He had published a documentary, Lives of Three People, and it drives his passion, just really shows through, and his richness is not based on financial richness. It's based on how he can serve other people through his work and through his through his videography. It's incredibly inspiring. So I think even people from a different faith background, I think a lot of the ones I'm attracted to, like James, we share the same kind of values around honoring other people and really putting others first and giving more than you receive and that kind of thing.
Okay, good stuff. Well, Johnny's trying to come back in. It looks like it's a little glitchy. I'm going to click you out again. Ahmad, how you doing?
Wonderful, sir. Thank you for having me.
The mic is always open as long as there's a seat open and your mic and your camera is working. We're open. So what is making at this point? What is making you as a man rich? Ahmad. No, we're having fun with Blab tonight because I don't know if he's even. Can you hear me, Ahmad? Ahmed, can you hear me? Okay. Brian, can you hear me?
You're both choppy. I can hear you. Just went to your connection just went to audio only. So
wow, okay.
I can hear you though.
Let me. I'm gonna try another refresh. Hold on.
Okay. How about you? Ahmed is like frozen. He's a frozen with a smile, so that's a good thing. At least on my computer.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
the
back.
Message
Video's
I'm getting
back.
for him is, I can't even.
Ahmed is frozen
him.
for me. Is he frozen for
he's
you?
in the screen. I can't. He's out now. So, well, you know what, folks? I'm sorry to put you through this. It's not my fault. I'm only going to go for another 10 minutes because it's just been all over the place tonight. But Blab is messed up. Oh, so Van, are you getting this experience tonight too? Are you experiencing this on other Blabs? So that would tell me if it's just our conversation or is it on other conversations? Okay, he disappeared. Okay, so he disappeared. So let's just. Blob must be messed up tonight. It's just like disappearing.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
It's beta. Still beta.
Okay. Ahmed, you're back.
All right, thank you. Am I choppy still?
On my screen, you're not. You're good now. Okay. So yeah, Ahmed, what makes you rich at this time of your manhood?
It's something that I got from my dad, and that is infinite curiosity and the ability to research. So I love to read and research. I love to investigate concepts and ideas to make me better. And for me, that is the secret that I've carried my entire life.
What? Go ahead.
No, that was it.
So what was your like richness? Okay. Yeah, it's choppy again. Ahmed, I've lost Ahmed now.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I see him.
But you see him fine. I don't. So I've got to refresh. Hold on.
Yeah. Well, you would think that certain times of the evening is probably peak time.
Now,
so that would make the traffic pretty heavy.
Oh, okay. There he is. But, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ahmed, you're still there. Okay. All right. So
Yes.
What
I'm
was
here.
your life like in terms of richness before you came to where you're at now? What did you define as rich before?
Um, I would have defined wealth, financial wealth, as richness. But I've always known that my ability to read and research was kind of a skateboard that allowed me to get into certain doors where others couldn't. It helped me tremendously in school. So I was telling my son the other day that one of the things that my dad did is I was telling him that I had to read Othello, Macbeth, The Pearl by John Steinbeck, of Mice and Men. I had all these books to read. And he asked me, he said, do you have the Cliff Notes? And his name was Cliff. So I was like, what? Like, I thought he was, going to make some type of joke. And he took me to the bookstore and showed me what Cliff Notes were. And again, it was just something like that helped me consume all this information, get good grades in school, and be that student where everyone else was stressing. But I grew up pretty poor. So for me at that time, financial wealth was the thing to have, to read and investigate.
Oop, he just dropped out for me.
Wow. I'm gone.
I see audio only, but I can't. Are you saying I can't hear you saying anything either?
All right. I'm still
I
here.
can hear
though.
you now. I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Okay. Dr. Vibe, you with us? Dr. Vibe froze for me.
Yeah, he's frozen for me too.
Okay.
He's like looking down at his
Wow.
notes.
Yeah. Blab is really having some issues.
Yep.
Can you see me now? Okay. All right,
Yes.
you're back.
Yes.
Okay. But okay, so Ahmed, I've got a very interesting conversation piece for you. Your line of entrepreneurship deals with helping people make money, and you deal with some people who have lots of money. How do you balance richness, being involved in the world that you're in? Okay.
Non-attachment. Yeah, just it's a tool. It's no different than having a bag full of nails. Just non-attachment. Once you start seeing wealth and seeing money, and you look at and interact with people's lives, and hear the stories of how this person may have 100 million in their IRA, but they don't have the love of their children. No one talks to them. And sometimes they'll call me to have those kind of conversations with me, asking me, how's your family? What is going on? Tell me where you guys travel to. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this a business call or a personal call? But it's because they don't have anyone else to talk to. So it gives you a perspective on what wealth really is. All of those things that money can't buy. Now you hear it, and when you don't have it, you're like, I'd rather have the money. I'd rather have the money. But once you really start to experience it, and a lot of people are willing to give it up, try to pay for friendship, try to pay for companionship, because they don't really have it.
Brian, anything you want to add to that?
I agree with that entirely.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There are some things money can't buy.
Mm-hmm. Can't buy me love.
Oh, Brian, yes, all right. There you go.
All right.
I'm telling you. So let's look at the younger generations right now. Do you feel that they have a jaded or not correct view of what is richness? What's true richness?
I think, my personal opinion, I think youth are very highly influenced by media, by games and by the internet. And I think those things they tend to focus on financial material wealth. So I think they are very strongly influenced by those things. And I think I was too when I was growing up. But I think, like I said, over time, I think you start to see as you develop relationships, longer term relationships. And I think a lot of that just comes with, age and maturity. You start seeing the value in other things. Hopefully, if you were lucky like me and had parents who passed on those values, even though you didn't really latch onto those strongly when you were younger, you can come back to them because it was a foundation of how we were raised when we were younger. And so then you can kind of pull those things back in from the back of your mind into the front of your mind and be like, yeah, that's what mom always used to say. That's what dad always used to tell me to focus on. I see that now. I remember one time clearly when I saw my dad from a whole new perspective, a couple different times. The first time was when my dad was a CEO of a large healthcare organization in the Midwest, $1 billion corporation. And so he would occasionally let us sit in on the board meetings of his, multi-million dollar company. And, and when I would see him, he's the CEO. So when I would see him, go around the group and, talk to these other executives, it kind of changed my perspective on who this man was, and also gave me a new respect for his knowledge and his wisdom and how people looked up to him. It was really interesting. And it also, one of the things that did for me is reduce any kind of fear I had of going before a board of directors or working with, executives, because I would just say, well, these people are lower down in the level than my dad, and I can talk to my dad like I can talk to my friend. So it kind of humanized everyone I talked with. Like I didn't feel like anyone was above me because, my dad was this CEO and I would sit in on the board meetings occasionally. So that was the first time. The second time was when I was a little bit older. So that was when I was a kid. And when I was older, it kind of renewed for me, the impact in the humanity and the leadership that my dad had is when I went to Marquette University for an executive MBA. And they asked the students, and I was an adult at this point. I kind of went back to school to get an MBA after I had been in the workforce a while. And so my dad this is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so my dad had, he ran one of the healthcare system in Milwaukee and in Iowa and in Illinois. And so he was in the area. I'm like, well, my dad could speak about finance, his degrees in finance, and he runs, he's CEO of a healthcare organization. And so he came and spoke to the group about finance, healthcare finance. And in that process of, he created some slideshow presentations and he presented to my class. And again, that was, my class asking him challenging, questions. And seeing my dad from that perspective, again, it put in my mind, the wisdom that he has and the things that I've learned from him, that really, I saw it from a whole new perspective again. And so I've actually tried to imitate that in my own life. So I'll bring my own kids to my business networking meetings. I will have them, stand up and present, what they do as a job for me. I try to reflect and emulate some of those great experiences my father gave me for my own kids.
Nice. Just want to welcome back onto the conversation, Ivan Taxi, and also like to welcome also Revel. Thank you so much for stopping by. So both, Brian, it's very interesting. You shared sort of like an aha moment when it came to richness from a man's perspective. Ahmed, has there been an event or two in your journey as a man they gave you a whole new perspective on richness, what rich really means.
Yes, and I'd like to say, Brian, congratulations on having that type of experience and relationship with your dad. I think that's amazing. But you know, when I first made in business $10,000, I was like, wow, like I didn't even really do anything, and I made money, you know. And for me, it wasn't about the money. It was about how I achieved it. And that was the aha. It was like, okay, so I don't have to work, you know, 40 or 60 hours a week to make this type of money. And because I grew up being poor, I've never really been attached to the actual money itself, but on the accomplishment and what it makes of me to achieve it. And for each level, you know, when I made 50,000, you know, 100,000, when I made my first million, it was with each time I'm looking at what I'm doing, and it feels like I'm doing less and less work to achieve it.
It doesn't feel like that for me yet.
So let me
I haven't
ask
hit a million
then.
a year yet, though.
The question then is, how important is the sense of achievement when it comes to feeling rich in a man per se?
For me, you know, that is the actual win for me. The achievement of the process of the achieving is the win for me. You know, and, you know, of course I have to keep account of the money and, you know, the mundane and the minutia of managing it and making sure that I watch it. But deep down, I'm not attached to the money. It doesn't make the man, you know, the man makes the money, you know. So for me, you know, and I'll say this publicly, when I'm doing or when I'm presenting to a group or engaging with a client, you know, I have to wear, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 suits. You know, I have to wear that type of costume because the client wants to know that they can trust their money with somebody that knows how to handle wealth as well. But my everyday clothes, I have on like a $5 t-shirt, you know, a pair of $39 tennis shoes, you know, that this is the real man. Like, I'm not attached to things, physical things. But I would never want my clients to see me that way, because in their mind, I have to fit a certain persona to be able to manage their wealth. So is
there an inverse relationship between
achieving
your financial wealth and your state of dress? Did you hear that?
I don't know if he heard you. I don't. Say it again. If not, I'll speak it through you. Go ahead again, Brian.
Is there an inverse relationship between the amount of money you make and how well you dress? So the more money you make, the cheaper you dress.
For me, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever looked at it that way before. I'm just not attached to physical things. I just never. I don't really care about.
Have you always been like that, or has it gotten more pronounced as you've become more wealthy?
So, yes, it has gotten more pronounced. As a young man, I wanted to be stylish. I wanted to have, you know, the most expensive of everything, you know. But now I'm more concerned about things like, if I'm writing with an ink pen, that ink pen works. Like, that is my thing. If I'm using something, I need it to be functional. So for me, my shirt is functional. It doesn't have to be, Egyptian cotton or anything like that. But it has to be functional for me. So, but I think, yes, as I've increased in financial wealth, yes, it feels like I don't want to invest money into things that have no meaning. Yeah, I would rather focus on the experience. How can we create a unique experience with me and my family? What trips and what types of lessons can I impart before I depart this world? So I look for unique experiences and not physical things.
So it's interesting. Both of you are bringing interesting perspectives about richness and in your journey as a man. How much importance then is self-evaluation when it comes to what makes you feel rich? Is it something that you periodically can take a look and reflection on, like, what image am I portraying, and is the image I'm portraying the person that I am? Does that ever come up in your journeys? It may have when you were younger, but do you still have those times where you just you reflect on that and say, is what I'm projecting in this suit what I really am? If it isn't, am I comfortable with that? Is what I'm portraying of richness match your core per se?
Deep.
Well, what I would say to that quickly is, for me, the costume that I wear is not for me. So when I'm speaking and talking with someone, I'm always genuine and coming from the heart. But the costume itself is not me. That's for the person that's looking at me. So you still get the real me, but you just see me in a costume. I could have on, a clown face or whatever, and still be speaking the same message.
Brian?
Yeah, for me,
anything you want to add to that?
I don't have, that's a very deep question. And I don't think a lot of men reflect that intensely on themselves and how they portray themselves. I've made that a conscious decision in my life. Actually, have created a journal, like a daily journal, like one of my the best man in my wedding, who's like my spiritual mentor, really, encouraged me to keep a written daily journal. I've gotten away from it in the past, but I did that for probably 2 years straight, every single day. And so it really helped me. And I've used a couple different meditation kind of books or things to kind of guide my thinking process on that. But one of the things that I did was kind of create a mission statement for myself and my family. And that really helped me in where I think I am with where I want to be and what I'm portraying to the world, to make those things as consistent as possible, because I really strive to be authentic, to be, the person, transparent in all my relationships, to be faith-filled and centered. I've become more open in my faith, life, and sharing that with others, in my business and personal life, and more consciously. And so it's really helped me to really, reflect and evaluate and make those things consistent between how I think I view myself, how others view myself, and what I want to portray. And then, and then on a daily basis, thinking, how well did I portray myself today? Where did I fall short? What could I have done better? I come from a family of exaggerators. My mother was a master exaggerator. She would make up stories. She would tell stories about her kids that were not true. Like she would just kind of go overboard with, wanting to say how good we were or how good things were. And it was really just lying, coming down to it, an extreme exaggeration. And I had fallen into that pattern myself, and I would catch myself. And so one of the things I decided to do for myself was really consider that as a lie. Consider when I start exaggerating, consider that as a lie and catch myself and change that behavior. And so I still fall into it sometimes, but I've gotten very good with a new pattern of telling the truth. As soon as I tell an exaggeration, I'll correct myself, verbally, out loud to people and my wife, I'll say, yeah, my son is got onto the Purdue football team and he's got a scholarship. No, he doesn't have a scholarship. He's a preferred walk-on. Well, he doesn't really have a scholarship. He's a preferred walk-on, which is just as good, because he can potentially get a scholarship next year. So it's that kind of thing where that kind of daily reflection has helped me to fix a few things in my own life and hopefully not pass those on to my kids too.
Okay. I want to ask, and it's interesting, and this is another conversation for our manhood or for men's evening, but do we dress to impress? Is that really necessary? And I guess Revel asked you, Ahmed, have you asked your clients if that's the way what they need to see?
Yes, I have. And I've been scorned several times about it, especially by my Caucasian counterparts. One thing that they have said is that I've come to the meeting underdressed, and they don't want me to have facial hair.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, definitely.
Wow.
I think there are some industries that they still have. There's still an expected look for how you present yourself. Like you're just not taken seriously if you're in the financial industry and you go to a board meeting in a t-shirt and jeans, even if you're making more money than everybody in the room. It's like
right.
I can
That's a very and a little sidelight story. Many years ago, I met a gentleman who became a mentor, and one of the first things he said to me at the time, I had a goatee, and he says, "You need to shave that." And I go, "Why?" Because he says it's hiding your face.
Break it up,
Dr.
Which was interesting.
You are breaking.
Do you all the tax?
You're breaking bad.
Okay, it looks like I'm breaking up bad again. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do one more refresh. Okay. Hold on.
Bloop.
So Revel, yes, I have, I've been scorned several times, and these are not bosses or anything like that. These are investors that may be investing in my hedge fund or buying some type of financial instrument from me. They will, definitely say something about it. So it's been mentioned to me several times, and recently I cut off my mustache and my goatee to just give it a try, but I wasn't happy with that, so I let it grow back.
Interesting.
I like it.
Man, there's a number of different conversations that are come after this one, because there's a whole thing about asking men and women, is dressing for success still important?
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean,
yes, and
I think it depends on your job, the culture of your organization, your business. You can, I can see, arguments against it and for it. I try to, since I used to wear a shirt and a tie and dress pants every day, to work. And then whenever we'd have a meeting, I'd wear a suit jacket with that. And since I'm working for myself, I'm so happy I don't have to wear a tie. Like I'll wear a nice shirt, and dress jeans. But that's about it. And then I'll put a jacket on if I'm doing a presentation, but I haven't worn a tie for a long time, and I like that. I do like wearing nice shoes though. I've got some Allen Edmonds shoes from Milwaukee. You know about those shoes, that brand? I love those shoes. They're expensive shoes, but they're nice. You know, they fit well, they feel good, and they do look good. But it's more like because I like the shoe, and they're going to last a long time. So that's more because I like the shoe than I'm trying to dress classy. And buying those shoes, it supported somebody.
I'm not gonna be rude here. Okay, I am going. Yeah, look, it's just I'm going to end the recorded part of this conversation because it's just been so challenging. Like, I appreciate everyone, and maybe it's just me, but it's been on and off this evening. Like, and I don't know if anyone else is experiencing the technical challenges during our conversation tonight. I really appreciate. No, it's me too. Yeah, other people experience it, and I really. Challenging but great conversation. Thank you. Well, you know what? I really appreciate everyone who's sticking in on this. I'm going to end the recorded part of the conversation because I don't want, as a recording to continue. I really pride on having good audio and video, and I don't like it when the audience is not getting that experience, and even more so when I have nothing to control over it. So I respect you all gratefully for coming by tonight. I'm going to end the conversation recording wise, and we'll just maybe do a quick after show conversation. I am Dr. Vibe. I am host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. I'm also president of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Consulting. If you would like to get some empowerment coaching, I am here for you. But more importantly, I'm just here to have you listen and have you share. And one of my main goals is that you're better after one of these conversations than when you came on. That's very important to me. So you can contact me. Twitter is at drvibeshow. My website address is drvibeshow.com, and email dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. I'd like to thank Ahmed and Brian, and earlier on Dante, for coming on the conversation. Thank you, Brian. Two great conversations happening tomorrow night. We have Michael D. Haynes. So if any of you have been on Blab for a little bit, Michael D. Haynes is in a wheelchair, but he's one of the most frequent people on Blab, and he is really amazing. So he's going to be on 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. Then at 9 o'clock, tomorrow is the first day of June. Now, do anyone, I know Ahmed, I've asked this out to people. Does anyone know what's celebrated in June? You probably don't. It is Black Music Month. So Juneteenth also. Absolutely. Very good point. Black Music Month is in June. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be starting a series of conversations, depending on how much the audience gets involved, on the celebration of Black music. So that's tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Yes, thank you, +1. You got it. Yes, we're going to start a celebrate, and I want everybody to chime in because I know that Black music has impacted at least each one of us in a positive way, even if it was for 30 seconds. So my vision is that this is not a one and done conversation tomorrow night. I want it that I have to schedule conversations throughout June on this subject. So that's 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night, celebrating Black music. It helps pay my rent through one of my biggest clients. Well, see, there you go. There you go. So I want to know how Black music has impacted you at any time in your life tomorrow night. Hey, Monty, what is up? I'm going to end the recorded conversation, but I really hope that you can make especially the conversation tomorrow night, because it'll be the first of many. But you know what? It's always important to start off on a good foot. As James Brown says, the good foot. We're going to start with a good foot tomorrow night. So, as always, I like to say you're blessed and highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And I'm already seeing some interesting stuff about people I didn't know about. Like Revel was a DJ Picasso with the
DJ.
Dells Dramatics. You got to come on tomorrow night and talk about that. I'm going to be disappointed if I don't hear that story, because that'll be so cool. So, as always, you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles. You're a solution for someone's problem. Thank you so much for tolerating the quality tonight. And we're speaking it tomorrow will be better. But again, I appreciate everything that everyone's shared tonight. God bless, peace, well, and keep the faith.